On board the fishing trawler William Sampson Stevenson, skipper Roger Noel is 100 miles from the nearest land. But he's being watched. Fishermen may be the last of the hunters, but they're no longer free to shoot their nets where they please.
Bird number, Papa Zulu 17.
These are the eyes of the Royal Navy's Fishery Patrol. Being seen by them fishing in the wrong area can mean trouble.
9-4, listening out.
Roger, our pal up in there.
What's that, Ziggy?
Our pal and Davy up there on the bow there.
Where?
Oh, look at him, man. On the starboard bow there.
Good God. That's a fishery patrol boat. Bloody hell. Hey, look. What's this? We're all right down there, aren't we?
Yeah, all right.
It's not the UK side trawler still steaming south, is it?
Ah,
I think
it will
it is.
be.
Yeah,
It will
I think
be.
it is.
Yeah.
Guided by the spotter planes, the Royal Navy's Fishery Protection Squadron searches for boats fishing illegally. They have the power to board any vessel, British or foreign, within the 200-mile UK fisheries limit.
Is it a nervous moment when you see a fisheries protection vessel?
Well, that all depends where you are. That all depends where you are. Well, at times.
Have you ever had problems with them?
Yeah, several.
Should we just leave that for a second? Just...
Today's regulations put much of the high seas out of bounds.
We're not allowed to fish inside the 12 mile because we're over the tonnage, over the power, and our length of gear exceeds 8 meters. We have 2 sets of 16 meters. We got to keep outside. If we're caught inside, well, that's the end of it.
There he is. Yeah, he'll do very nicely. Yeah.
Start with 35. Start with 35.
Okay, pipe, hands to fish boarding stations, please. Away starboard sea rider.
Hands to fish boarding stations, hands to fish boarding stations. Away starboard sea rider, away starboard sea rider.
Right, number one, no record of him having been boarded before. You're looking for an 80mm net. You're in Area 7 Hotel now. Should be hauling within half an hour, the usual standard boarding.
Let's hope they just steer off towards one of the foreigners or the Belgians or the Frenchmen, you know. But I doubt it, because they like PZ191s for some unknown reason.
Oh, G3.
Every time we come to sea jigging it, it's either the plane turn up or the naval ship turn up and can we come aboard, and whether they like the reception from us, it might be just that, you know. I don't know. We've been in there, 10 or dozen of us, trawling, and somebody said, the grey ghost is about. And all of a sudden, you've looked that way to port, and all you can see is green and red lights, and they're all coming hard around. You know, they're doing like a dance, they're all going out, and then hard around. And, wow, we've had some fun. Going aboard the Frenchman, Ziggy, look.
Can we ask the skipper just to make very slow progress ahead?
Roger, I'll do that.
Yeah, he's going aboard the Frenchman.
You're right,
Yes, sir. Next to you.
Mikey.
That's fine. Boarding Guernsey is coming ahead slowly.
The restrictions are designed to conserve fish stocks. Prosecution can lead to heavy fines.
84, 81,
Nets with undersized mesh catch small fish, a major threat to breeding stocks.
82, 83, 81, 83, 85. Over.
Roger, all copied. Stand by.
Generally, it's the size of the mesh and the fish, and so long as we haven't overcaught our allocated amount, like, you know, we're just say we're allowed a quarter of a ton. If we got 3/4 aboard, we've had it. We've really had it. And then you've got to try and say, well, I was over there. And they'll say, well, we know you weren't over there because the plane seen you yesterday or something. That you're shanghaied and you've had it.
Agree. Boarding Guernsey, I make that 83.7, over. That's fine, so shoot away again.
The MAF or the government, the same difference. They'd have cut the sea up into areas and tell us where we can fish to. This is our fishing license. This allows us to fish. And that tells us like where we can fish and what you're allowed to catch and how much you're allowed to catch. The sea is divided up into different areas where you're allowed at different times of the year. But the problem is they don't paint lines on the sea. So really, sometimes we might slip, you know, over into the next area, you see. So I think really they all like paint a line. That would help us a hell of a lot, I tell you. Years ago you could get away with it, but now we can't get away with anything now because we got like this here you see now. This is the electronic chart. Now we got the GPS, that's global positioning system, and it gives us a position within a few yards. So really, I cannot, you know, I can't get away with anything anymore.
Warp's plainly visible in the water.
There she is.
Oh, Papa Zulu 191.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
William Sampson Stevens. Well, there we are. Would you believe it?
William Sampson, this is Sheridan on 77 over.
Yes, good afternoon, Sheridan. What can I do for you, over?
This is Sheridan, good afternoon to you, Skipper. Just a few questions, please. Can you tell me how long you've been out on this trip for, over?
Yes, we came to sea last evening. We left Newlyn 1750 hours. Over.
This is Sheridan, Roger, that's understood. Can you tell me what sort of quantities of fish you have on board at this time, over?
Yes, I would say at the moment we've got about 15 boxes. About 15 boxes of fish, over.
This is Sheridan, Roger, and what time do you next intend hauling your nets, please, over?
Well, within like a quarter of an hour, over.
This is Sheridan, Roger, I'd like to send my team across for a routine inspection, but if you could just make sure that you leave your nets in the water until the team are on board, please, over.
Thank you, Sheridan. Chicky, better go and get Peter up here, see if we haven't got anything we shouldn't have aboard.
I know, we're going to get you.
Right, so we're going to...
Roger's been boarded more times than he cares to remember. He knows the procedure.
How's it going? How you doing? How's it going, mate? All right, fine. And you?
Yeah, how's it going?
All right. How you doing? Well, what can I do for you?
We got your registration papers and your
Yes.
logbook and your licences.
It's logbook. I'll get the light. I'll get the. Of course, we haven't put anything in there yet. We just started, you know.
Right.
Peter,
Yeah.
we're all okay down below, aren't we? For,
Yeah.
For any. There's no borderline cases there, is there?
Not that I know of, Roger. No, I haven't seen that come aboard.